Good morning and a happy Easter. 2xko has a problem. I'm very interested to sort of look into, maybe do a little bit of a deep dive here in this video. It's going to be a little bit of a quick one because I've got my little doggy here. He wants to go for walkies. But I've just put some summarized points on the side here. Whoever's interested in 2xko, you have seen the developer update. You have seen the new alpha test that's out right now. It's a bit weird because I feel like the marketing's been a lot less for the alpha test too. I myself didn't actually know it was happening now, and I believe it's locked in certain locations such as USA, Canada, and Brazil, and they haven't really given out any more invites, or doesn't seem like they have been because Reddit's blowing up. I looked at some of the gameplay recently, and I'll take you to it, and it worries me. It worries me because with these types of games, they tend to lean to a certain stereotype. So for tag fighters, this League of Legends game 2xko is a tag fighter. It's meant to be very aggressive, very long combos, and there's that little niche that it's always been covering. You've got Marvel vs. Capcom, the iconic franchise. You've got Dragon Ball fighters that copied that formula. All these genres, these tag fighters, all have been known for their very aggressive, fast-paced gameplay. This usually entails with heavy knockdowns, mix-ups, ways to really get the opponent in terms of defense, right? And then sort of one-shot them and take them out. In this case though, you'll notice a lot of the times that the characters are rolling off the floor and they're almost changing positions at times. So, you know, in some parts of the clip, you'll see literally one of the characters is knocked down. He's in the corner. The corner in all fighting games is usually known as a really, really bad thing. If you're in the corner, you kind of deserve to be there because you're the one who got placed there. But in this case, you're allowed to roll, not only roll out of the corner, but past the opponent. And it's completely safe. You cannot punish it at all. This lovely YouTuber, and I think he's a commentator as well. I remember him from the Dragon Ball Z days, but Damascus, he covers this in one of his videos that I'll show you in a bit, but he literally highlights how it's completely safe on wake up, and it's a huge problem. Although it does reset neutral, it doesn't exactly reset neutral in the corner. So even if you did all that effort to push them into the corner, you've now jeopardized your own position if they've just rolled past you. Completely safe, by the way. You might get a hit on block or two on them and then continue the pressure perhaps, but the fact that you're being pushed into the corner yourself now is a little bit frightening. It's a little bit scary, and it kind of doesn't make any sense. But I've also noticed that the combos are a lot more different, and they have nerfed heavy knockdowns and mix-ups, especially for Echo. So Echo doesn't really have a reliable way to knock down opponents without using some of his resources, whereas some of the other characters do. I feel like the game's almost suffering from a character, it's not a character identity, but it's like almost suffering from a game identity. It doesn't really understand where it wants to be, or it wants to be something completely new and completely fresh for everyone else. It's almost like it wants to continuously reset the game into neutral, almost like be a very neutral based game like Street Fighter, but even Street Fighter doesn't go to that extreme to then swap positions in this case. The second point, or one of the other points that I wanted to make, is that because tag fighters have many characters, there are ways to regenerate their health and to prolong the game. As you can see here, the timer is about to go out. In this game, because damage has been nerfed overall because the combos have been shortened, and because that the neutral is continuously being reset, the timer is always going out, and it's not a 99-second timer like Street Fighter. It's not a 60-second timer like Tekken. It's a 120-second timer. That is always going down to the clock. Now, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but you can see what I mean. Like, because it's continuously resetting, there's a lot of back and forth for seemingly no true reasons in my books, and I don't know if it's good or healthy for the game. If you're continuously on the back foot and then you can just reset the whole position again, I don't know. I know for sure in League of Legends, if you're on the back foot and you're losing, and you've got a gold disadvantage and a dragon disadvantage, in tournaments you've pretty much lost. There's not really many comebacks for that, so there's no resetting neutral in MOBAs, that's for sure. I wanted to also cover the launch roster of 10 and these weird alpha labs. So they're region locked, and there's only 10 characters on launch. I mean, they've had like 6 years to develop this game, and I feel like, sorry, my dog wants to move. Here you go, buddy. Okay. So I just find it really, really bizarre that a very aggressive by nature game like a tag fighter are seemingly nerfing the tag fighting aspects of the game. I do agree with the shortening of the combos, but I mean, a lot of true tag fighter players won't because they're just so used to it. The biggest elephant in the room is the 10 characters for launch. I don't exactly know how that's going to work in a tag fighter, because if everyone has 2 characters, they're probably trying to make every character very unique feeling and interesting, but it's a very, very small, I think it's probably the smallest tag roster that I've ever seen. And I know Riot will, support it and try it out and, develop it over time. So we've got another clip here, and I think he shows an example of where you tank someone to the ground. He's trying to do a loop here for Yasuo, but it's been completely shortened. And this is the more optimized route that you can see now. But it doesn't do too much damage these days. Here, so you can see this character Ari. She's completely invulnerable here. And there's nothing that Yasuo can do on Wake Up. Look, she can swap sides. Boom, she is still invulnerable. There, this is the only point where she is attackable now, and that's because she's completely recovered. But she can swap sides very, very freely. I don't know if that's a good change. I really don't. It needs to be tested. Post recording, I just wanted to say the reason why I feel that allowing someone to escape a really bad situation just by rolling out of that position is because it kind of kills the tension behind the whole, this is a really bad situation. When you see those comebacks in Tekken, in Street Fighter, where someone's against the wall, they have no more options, they're gonna have to do a really hard read to get out of this and squirm out of this situation. Those are the tense and clutch moments. But if in 2xKO you can just simply roll out of it every time and then nothing happens, you just take another little like tiny mix up from the advantageous opponent, it just kind of, I don't know, I feel like it might kill the hype a little bit. There's been 2 alpha tests now. They're meant to release this year, and I think there's less and less players that are playing this game right now, and I don't think that's what you're meant to have. I feel like you're meant to ramp up until launch. We don't want to have the same situation like in multiverses where the game just dies before launch and then they just shut down operations. Legends of Runeterra is an example of where something didn't really work, and so the league development team starts slowing down and going away from it. And I feel like if they've dedicated like 6-7 years to this, they really want to start ramping up the marketing, really pushing out the content, the characters, etc. I mean, they've already put, I'm guessing, another battle pass in the game already, which again, for me, is quite worrying because it's not even out yet and you're already trying to sell skins and cosmetics for the game. So I don't know, it's a really strange change. To summarize what I was trying to say, there are a few problems. Alpha lab tests are kind of not hype and are locked away from most players. They should be ramping up rather than ramping down in terms of who's testing. I feel like they're catering to too many audiences. They want to reset neutral continuously, but then you're trying to do that in a tag fighter, which is notorious for it being super aggressive and swinging left and right in terms of momentum and advantage. Perhaps they are homogenizing the game too much. What I'm trying to say at the beginning is Tekken 8 is Tekken 8 and it's known as being Tekken, and the reason why it's on fire right now is because Tekken 8 is trying to homogenize it and change the game into something it's not. That's the biggest thing. It's trying to change the game into something it's not. In this case, League of Legends 2xKO is a tag fighter and it's trying to change the game before it's even released into something that is potentially not. So changing the way you wake up, which Tekken did and failed miserably in terms of what people liked. Nerfing length of combos in a tag fighter, overly long rounds perhaps because they're going 2 timed continuously, and only 10 characters on launch. So I don't know what they're trying to play at here, but what I'm trying to say is they need to play it really carefully from here on out, and they need to start releasing more and more content on what's coming out and what characters are coming out, because they might be left in a position where they're trying to cater to everyone, but then they don't please anyone, because they won't have the hardcore combo players, they won't have the hardcore tag fighters, because it doesn't really play like a tag fighter, it resets to neutral too much, and you can't take advantage of the advantage that you've just won. And you won't win over the Street Fighter 1v1 neutral based players because they're just going to play Street Fighter, and you're certainly not going to be catering towards hardcore execution heavy players, because the whole game and the inputs are simple now. So you know, it's a bit of a weird one. It's like Street Fighter on modern controls, but in a Marvel vs. Capcom game with less combos and more wake up options, and not enough damage. So it'll be interesting. I'll definitely be playing it, and I feel like this will be one of the first tag fighters that I'll be properly getting myself interested into. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they change it and what comes about it. It looks great, it looks fantastic, don't get me wrong, but I'm just worried about the long-term player base and how it's going to work. But anyway, those are my 2 cents. I'm looking forward to the game either way. I'm going to be playing it loads as well on stream and as some YouTube videos. I hope you guys like this TED Talk that I'm doing, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let me see what you think. Do you like this more neutral based advantage swapping tag fighter? Do you feel like usual tag fighters are too quick? I mean, let me know, yeah. Alright, thank you. Cheers. Bye bye.